Guys, tell me, since you guys sat there at CPAC and we had this press conference, you talked about the movie. You guys have become the center of controversy because it seems to me the Occupy movement has singled you two guys out for attacks. You want to talk to my audience about that? What exactly has happened to both brother Stranahan and brother Darby?
Well, this is Lee Stranahan. I'll talk about Brandon because it's weird to talk about myself. But I mean, he's been the target of the far left for years now, and specifically in Oakland last night. They have a march, a weekly march now, where they burn the flag, and it's called the FTP March. And the first word we can't say on the radio, and the last two words are the police. And this is officially the name of the march, is the police march. And that's what the Occupy movement calls it. So it's a mob of Occupy Oakland walking down the street, chanting, cursing out the police. They say from Oakland to Greece, and the police. And so last night they were shouting literally, "Brandon Darby is a snitch. Throw his body in a ditch." That's what they were chanting. This is up on the live stream. And what they're mad about Brandon about, which is insane.
I take it when they say that the implication is there's going to be bodily harm to Brandon Darby.
That's absolutely what they're saying. Not only that, he's been accused of, he has people on Twitter literally accusing him, like not accusing him, threatening him, literally threatening him. And then in my case, I had a much milder. They put up some personal information about me.
Well, they're trying what they call
my wife's phone number.
They're trying to do what they call dox you, right? DOX. They're trying to put all your personal information up there. It's intimidation. They're trying to intimidate you, Lee Stranahan, from being involved in this film. Correct?
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's not going to. First off, it's not going to work. But it's also just profoundly anti-American. And this goes to what they were doing up at CPAC, which is, I cannot think of a time, Stephen, when people on the right, Republicans, Democrats, liberals, communists, have conventions and meetings and get-togethers. I can't think of a single case in modern history recently where the Republicans have gone and tried to shut it down.
But Lee, I want to talk. I want to talk about that for a second. About Republicans letting guys speak. I mean, you are actually a videographer for the Huffington Post for a long time. I've seen so many raves from you from guys on the liberal media types, leftist mainstream media guys. You actually came to this with doing Pig for Nothings, but you're actually a videographer for the Huffington Post. And Brandon Darby was a hardcore radical on left. You guys do not. You guys aren't. You didn't come through Young Americans for Freedom. You didn't come up through CPAC. You guys are basically what we call guys center-left or leftist that came at this, right? So you see this through a whole different perspective. And are you kind of shocked that liberals and people on the left are trying to shut down, a gathering together just to have discussions, or people putting out a film and talking about issues related to this? They're trying to suppress free speech?
I'm not shocked at all. This is Brandon Darby. And no, Steve, I'm not shocked at all. This was, this type of tendency was one of the reasons I left. I began to leave the left. Was this totalitarian tendency where they feel that if someone else that they dehumanize, who has a different worldview and a different opinion than their left of center view, that they have the right to, for any means necessary, to employ any means necessary to shut them down. It's what they did at the 2008 Republican National Convention. And it's what they're doing now. So I personally have tried for years to get conservatives to recognize how dangerous these people are. And then they finally organize all together under the banner of Occupy, and they start to get mainstream support from the President of the United States, from Nancy Pelosi, from the mainstream media. And now we're seeing how dangerous they are. What they did yesterday, after 4 years of horrible character assassination and horrible character attacks and everything bad I've ever done being brought into my face publicly, and then 100 times that things I never did being brought into my face, now that we begin to expose them for their rapes and for their injuries to people and against law enforcement, just then, a few days ago, they start to attack me on Twitter as a rapist.
Well, let's talk about that. This goes back to the film, and Lee, you can jump in here. But this goes back Andrew Breitbart had a confrontation with the thugs at Occupy who tried to shut down and tried to intimidate, and they're used as a weapon of intimidation. They're the new brown shirts. They tried to intimidate the students and the little old ladies that were coming in out of CPAC one day, and Andrew Breitbart went down and called them out on the rapes. And then some of the guys in the mainstream media started mocking Andrew about this whole concept of the rapes, and that we know there's documentation that there were rapes. We're going to go into great detail of that in the film. And then Brandon, what did they start saying about you? I mean, first of all, they put up Lee Stranahan's private information. They put up his wife's cell phone number.
Well,
They've tried to put his address and all this.
They put his family members' names out there and information about them.
Because they're trying to intimidate Lee Stranahan. With you, they've now started going around saying, "Oh, Brandon Darby's a rapist. That's who's the rapist. Brandon Darby's the rapist." That's what they're doing now, right?
Right, and so they figure if they just have enough people say it, never mind that for 4 years of attacking me, that's never come up. Now all of a sudden, they have hundreds of people on Twitter calling me a rapist, a domestic abuser. I mean, these insane things that has never happened in my life and that I've never been charged with or never been accused of. And now all of a sudden they start to say this. So then I began to fight back finally. And once I fought back sufficiently and tens of Twitter followers who are supporters and conservatives and patriots began to fight back, then they put something out on one of their leftist center sites called Democratic Underground, actually complaining about how vicious we were attacking them and trolling them. And so now their feelings are hurt that we were so mean and we said such mean things about their movement, when in fact they began it by calling me and trying to shut us down on this movie, and by calling me a rapist and by trying to frighten Lee's family members.